Have you ever had to clean up someone else's mess? I'm not just talking about a spilled drink. I mean a really big life or death kind of mess. Today, we're diving into the story of a woman who is a master of crisis management, a woman of wisdom and courage named Abigail. Her story, found in 1 Samuel chapter 25, is more than just an ancient tale. It's a powerful lesson in diplomacy, faith, and doing the right thing even when it's hard. So let's set the scene. We have David, the future king of Israel, who's currently on the run from the jealous King Saul. He and his men, about 600 of them, are hiding out in the wilderness. They've been acting as a protective wall for the local shepherds and their flocks, making sure no harm comes to them. Think of them as a neighborhood watch, but for the desert. Now enter Nabal. His name literally means fool, and trust me, he lives up to it. Nabal is a very wealthy man with thousands of sheep and goats. He's described as harsh and evil in his dealings. He's the kind of guy nobody wants to work for or live next to. Unfortunately for our hero, Abigail, she's married to him. The Bible describes her as intelligent and beautiful, a total opposite of her husband. You have to wonder how they ended up together. It's sheep shearing time, which was a big festival, a time of celebration and generosity. So David, who has been protecting Nabal's property for free, sends 10 of his young men to politely ask for some provisions. It's a reasonable request. They're not demanding anything. They're basically saying, hey, we've looked out for your guys, and now that you're celebrating, could you spare some food for us? How does Nabal respond? He completely flies off the handle. He insults David, pretends he doesn't know who he is, and basically tells him and his men to get lost. He asks, who is this David? Who is this son of Jesse? And then accuses David's men of being runaway servants. It's a huge, unnecessary insult to a man who was already a famous warrior and anointed as the next king. When David's men return and tell him what happened, David is furious. And who can blame him? His honor has been publicly trampled. He tells his men, strap on your swords. And he sets out with 400 soldiers, fully intending to wipe out Nabal and every male in his household. David is a man of God, but at this moment, he's letting his anger get the best of him. He's on a path of revenge. This is where Abigail steps in. One of Nabal's servants, realizing the catastrophe that's about to happen, bypasses his foolish master and goes straight to Abigail. He tells her everything, how David's men protected them and how Nabal repaid their kindness with insults. He knows that Abigail is the only one who can save them. And Abigail doesn't hesitate. She doesn't panic or complain about her terrible husband. She acts. She quickly gathers a massive amount of provisions: bread, wine, sheep, roasted grain, raisins, and fig cakes, loads them on donkeys, and goes to intercept David, all without telling Nabal. This is a bold and risky move. When she meets David, she doesn't make excuses for her husband. She gets off her donkey, bows down before him, and takes all the blame herself. She says, upon me alone, my lord, be the guilt. She's incredibly humble and wise. She acknowledges David's anger, but appeals to his better nature. She calls Nabal the fool that he is, and basically says, don't let this worthless man cause you to do something you'll regret. She reminds David of God's promise to make him king and that he shouldn't have the staggering burden of needless bloodshed on his conscience when he does ascend the throne. She speaks with faith, honoring David's position and reminding him of his destiny. Her words are a perfect blend of humility, respect, and courageous truth. She's not just saving her family. She's saving David from himself, from making a terrible mistake that would tarnish his future reign. Her appeal works. David's anger melts away. He sees the wisdom in her words and recognizes that God sent her to stop him. He praises her for her good judgment and accepts her gift. He tells her, go home in peace. I have heard your words and granted your request. Crisis averted. When Abigail gets home, she finds Nabal having a feast, drunk and oblivious. She wisely waits until the next morning, when he's sober, to tell him what happened. When he hears how close he came to total destruction, the Bible says his heart died within him and he became like a stone. About 10 days later, the Lord strikes Nabal and he dies. When David hears the news, he praises God for intervening and for keeping him from doing wrong. And then he does something that shows just how much he admired Abigail. He sends for her and asks her to be his wife. Abigail, once married to a fool, now becomes the wife of the future king. Abigail's story teaches us so much. It shows the power of a soft answer to turn away wrath. It highlights the importance of wisdom, humility, and quick, decisive action. She was a peacemaker in a volatile situation. She saw a problem, took responsibility, and solved it with grace and courage. She reminds us that even when we are in difficult circumstances, we can choose to be agents of wisdom and peace. Thanks for watching today. What do you think is the biggest lesson from Abigail's story? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next story. See you next time.